just going to get on with it. Okay, we've come to the important part of the evening. The speeches. And to start off with, we have the two fathers of the married. We've got Stephen Christian and Paul Fuller. Can we give them a round of applause, please?
It's already going, Mark. Yeah.
So, this is it then. Are you ready for your father of the bride speech?
Well, I think so, Woody. It's been over 21 years in the making, all leading to this day, but if I'm honest, I'm a little bit nervous.
There's no need to be nervous. This should be a walk in the park for you, the inner vicarage and all that. Just remember, go easy on the couple. Why not start with when and how the romance of the century began?
Wow, this feels quite tall, actually. What can I say? What can I say about such an amazing couple? I remember the romance began because I remember the first time I met Paul.
Hang on. It's not about the romance.
Your mic stopped working. You'll have to share it with me.
I've gone off.
Move a little closer. There we go.
Hello. Right, I'll start again. What was I saying?
I just said I remember the day I first met you.
Oh,
the
yeah.
romance of the century.
Hang on.
And nobody laughed. Thank you.
Don't get carried away. Right. It's not about the romance. It's about our lovely children, Katie and Oliver. Now start again.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Today is a special day for Katie and Oliver, but more than that, these two are obviously in love, aren't they? But it doesn't really just end with these two, because today has been really about the joining of two families. I say that because as parents, whenever we get together, well, particularly whenever Paul and I get together, there's always a lot of complaints that about Woody and Vicarage, we don't stop.
Well, complaints that we keep on talking like forever, which is to be expected because we are, after all,
We're good friends, which is why Paul and I are sharing the fathers' speeches together. We've got a lot to say, so we come as a duo. And tonight we are coming to you as what is on the WhatsApp group that Katie set up for us. We're coming to you as the... the Outlaws.
right. Can we start then by welcoming you all?
Especially those who have travelled and some of the family that have just gone, especially from up north.
So the family and friends.
Yeah. And can we thank all those who've helped to make today happen, adjusting dresses, setting up decorations, the band, amazing, yes?
And Shag, the world's second best Baptist minister, because Steve, you are, of course, the first.
Thank you. So I want to tell you a few stories about Katie. Katie, you've been in my life for just over 21 years, and it's been an honour to see you, the way that you've grown to be the amazing person. I can't look at you when I say this. To see the amazing person that you have become. Because there's so many moments that have shown us the characteristics in your life for which both your mother and I are immensely proud, which, Oliver, we know you will grow to love even more. So your mum said, I've got to say, that you're empathetic. Actually, so much so, when Katie was young, we watched EastEnders once, and she got so upset in this storyline in EastEnders, she made me turn it off. And we had to pray for the people in EastEnders that their lives would get better. I'm not sure that's even possible to God. Katie, you're also really energetic. As far as I recall as a child, I don't think you ever walked anywhere. You ran, and we had to run behind you just to keep up. Except for one video where you're walking with such a slouch in Cornwall that it is so slow that even the video on fast forward takes ages to get there. I've added that in. I'm ad-libbing here. Okay. But we also see through your training as a physiotherapist, it's got dark, that the other characteristics of compassionate, caring, trustworthy, all of those have come to the surface. Although I'm not sure how much Daniel would call you those words when he thinks about what it is to have a bossy older sister, especially when you're playing as young children. And Daniel, I identify with that. Katie, a few weeks ago, asked if she could practice a sports massage on my calves. I'm laying there, and I get the phrase, "Does it hurt?" So I say no. A little bit harder. "Does this hurt?" I should have clicked at that point just to say yes. But I said no. And I could sense through, although I couldn't see her face, she was laughing as she pushed with all her might into the back of my calves, manipulating them with full muscle manipulation as I cry out in agony, "Yes, that hurts." Not as compassionate as we've always thought. That is red, and that's red type. You know, I shouldn't complain about the pain, because Katie, you live with the pain of hypermobility, a condition you've learned to live with. Shows us how brave and determined you are. And we know that that's not made your journey, even in the last few years, particularly easy. But it did mean from an early age you wanted to be a physiotherapist, and you wanted to help others, just as your physiotherapists have helped you. And even your training, we know, has not been easy. But today, and this year, is a year of celebrations for us as a family, not just because you're getting married, but you finish university, and in a few weeks we're going to have her graduation. I know, I nearly said ordination then for some reason, but there we go. You can probably tell, those of you who've seen me, that over 21 years, Katie's turned me grey extremely early, because I'm so young in life. So, Oliver, I am relieved to hand over the baton to you. I can't lie, she may not be the perfect daughter. She may not be that perfect diamond that you hope and long for. Those perfect diamonds are available from Rossiter's, half price on a Sunday and a Monday. Said I'd get it in, didn't I? There we go. Do I get a discount now myself? Thank you very much. So you may not be getting the perfect wife, but her aim has always been determined to be the best. To be the best sister to Daniel, to be the best daughter to Max and I, and for Milo to be the bestest auntie in the whole wide world. So I know that with you, she will always strive to be the second best wife ever, because Maxine, of course, has to come in first place.
I'm impressed you held it together.
Thank you.
Well done. I'll probably crack now. Right. So, what can I say about Oliver? Up you come. Well, I think Ruth and I knew that Oliver was always going to be practical from very early on. When he was 3 years old, he moved bedrooms, and Oliver wanted to make his bedroom furniture. Can't think why. So, being a determined little chap, he got me to hold the pieces, and he fixed them all together. I should have learnt then, really. So, I think I can say he's been my youngest ever apprentice to date. There was one occasion when Ruth walked into the lounge to be confronted with Oliver pushing a piece of card across the top of the play kitchen doing this. Strange, she thought. Ruth said, "What are you doing, Oliver?" And his reply was, "Oh, I'm cutting a piece wood on my store bench, Mummy. So we thought at that point it was probably a good time to play Kitchen to Go, and we bought in the toy workbench instead. So it's no wonder that Oliver has followed me into the family business and made such a successful start in his career, which we're very proud of. Ruth and I are exceedingly proud to be able to say to Oliver that he's developed the characteristics of the impatient, imaginative, persistent, and very, very caring. It's been lovely to witness that when Oliver purchased a flat just over a year ago, how both Oliver and Katie worked together, bringing their own individual skills, and have created their dream home for them to share now they are married, where we wish them every happiness together.
We've met for a number of breakfasts to discuss this talk. So I'm going to take the opportunity to say something about Oliver. I've had the opportunity over a number of occasions over years to interrogate Oliver in a number of different ways. There was the time that he came to the church to ask me if he could be baptised, so I was able to interrogate him then. Then he came and asked to become a church member. But the most fun was the interrogation I made him endure before he would ask Katie if she would marry him. For many months I made it known that I expected Oliver, just like the men of us in the past, to task me as her father for a hand in marriage. And then he squirmed. And eventually he plucked up the courage. And we arranged to go to Costa Coffee for that morning. Do you remember that? I have never seen Oliver as nervous as he was. I don't know if it's just because he was seen with being out with me, or if it was the 30 questions I had supplied him before the coffee event that I expected him to answer that made him gulp, or the fact that your previous church youth worker arrived in the coffee shop and sat 2 tables away and started asking what we were doing there at that point. But Oliver squirmed. Despite his nerves, Oliver did quite well. He answered flawlessly my question of how he would keep Katie in the way that she had become accustomed. He sailed through questions about his ambition for the future. But the one answer that flummoxed me was when I asked him, "So what makes you good enough for our Katie?" His reply was cocky, confident, and even for me, had no comeback. He simply said, "Because I am Oliver." Over the last few years, Oliver, you've shown that those words are the perfect answer, because you've treated Katie with kindness, patience and care. So it is with delight that you've taken her as your wife, but I have to warn you, being married doesn't mean that you can treat her any differently than the point that you've treated her up to now, because I have to warn you, whilst I'm afraid of my mother-in-law, you have far more to be afraid of.
So, Katie. Over the years that we've got to know Katie and learned that, well, Katie is Katie. And there is only one Katie. You've always been caring, who looks out for those and others, as well as being organised, very organised, and determined young lady. Especially when you decided that my office needed reorganising, which you carried out with great enthusiasm, and then told me, when it was completed, that you'd be checking up on me to make sure I didn't mess it up. Whose office is it? Within only a few months of Katie going out with Oliver, Ruth had some minor surgery. Katie made sure that Ruth was comfortable when she came home, had everything she needed, so it was no surprise that Katie told us that she wanted to go into a caring profession and was planning on becoming a physiotherapist. We can see how, Katie, your caring attitude towards people will be such a blessing to your patients. Ruth and I are proud to welcome you into the family, and not only because I may need a little bit of tidy up in my office, but also free physiotherapy when it comes handy too in the old age.
We're getting near the end now, don't worry. We wanted to celebrate today as a family in quite a visual, well, it's two families becoming one, in quite a visual form. So we thought, well, how can we do this? So Katie, question for you. What does everyone in our family have that you don't?
Good luck.
Now, your cousin...
She's just nicked my line. Correct, Katie Fuller. That's good, isn't it? Katie Fuller. Till now, you have been the exception. But that is till now.
3 years ago or so, when they got engaged, we went online and bought you a private number plate in anticipation of today. In fact, Oliver did ask me whether we'd bought this, because I think he was looking for it himself, I have to say.
We thought number plates were relevant because...
Well, for us as a family, the yellow one at the back signifies someone going away, moving away. We're getting rid of her, as it were. We're seeing you off to a new family life.
And for us, the front shows you coming towards a new family, in a new name, Fuller, and becoming part of the Fuller's line of furniture. Family business advert, get that? Right, never mind. Well, Rossiter's got one, I got
Discounts on Sundays.
discounts are not on Sundays. Okay, shut up. Right. Even this year, you came with the Baptist Assembly and with Oliver and were able to bring us business from churches. Welcome to the no longer being the odd one out, Katie.
So the mothers are going to present you with your plate. We've got Katie, 13. So that does match Oliver's, because Oliver's got OL13 FFF, haven't you? So you're only 2 letters different. So there we go. Mums, you're going to come and join us with some glasses. If you've got a glass, if you would like to just be charging it, whatever you're supposed to do with it. Please join us in a toast to Katie and Oliver. For Oliver, you've become like a son to Maxine and me, and we're entrusting Katie to you. Cherish every moment that you have together.
Katie, you have become like a daughter to Ruth and me. And we are entrusting Oliver to you. Cherish every moment you have together.
Let us all wish the happy couple a lifetime of joy. To the bride and groom.
Wow, that was quite a long minute. Well done, guys, that was great. We have another speech from the groom himself, Oliver Fuller. Can everyone raise your hands, round of applause for Oliver?
Hello everyone.
for anyone that doesn't know me, I'm the groom, so hi. I would just like to say, on behalf of my wife and thank you to everyone for joining Katie and I on our special day. Especially those of you that have travelled really far to be here. We really do appreciate everything you've done.
You're welcome.
Now, before I go any further, I actually need a glass. Before I go any further, would you join with me and raise a glass to remember those special people in our lives that can't be with us today, but they're definitely in our thoughts? Now, let me take you back about 8.5 years ago, to the day I plucked up the courage to ask Katie to go out on a date. Now, I wasn't the most forward-going guy in the world, so I decided to write a beautiful, heartfelt text message that said something along the lines of, now, you got to bear with me, this took me a good half an hour to write. Hi Katie, will you go out with me? And the response, just as heartfelt and lovingly written, no, sorry. However, Katie couldn't resist the charm and eventually she saw the light. And so, from our first date of Crazy Golf 7.5 years ago, which I won convincingly, to here today with the most amazingly beautiful bride I could ever ask for. I'm so excited to spend the rest of my life with you and see what the future has in store. I love you to the moon and back. Katie Fuller. Now, I have quite a few thank yous to make, so you're gonna have to bear with me. Now, my first thank you must go to my producers. They generally go by the name of Mum and Dad. I would just like to say thank you for being, well, to be honest, bringing up such a handsome young man. No, but in all seriousness, thank you so much for everything you've done for Katie and I. It's a massive thank you for everything you have done for our wedding today. We really do appreciate it. I'd also like to say a massive thank you to my mother and father-in-law. I remember asking Steve, so he's already said this, but anyway, I'm going to say it anyway. I remember asking Steve for his permission to marry his daughter. Now I can honestly say that before about 1:30 today, I've never been that nervous in my life. So Steve took me out for a very uncomfortable cup of coffee and tormented me for a good half an hour. But in all fairness, I do beat you on the golf course, so we're sort of even. But all joking aside, thank you both to Steve and Maxine for everything you do for Katie and I. Thank you so much for everything you've done in preparation of the wedding today. We really do appreciate both of you. Now I'd like to say a big thank you to my groomsmen, Tom, Dan and Jensen, for the hard work you've put in today. They really have helped me make sure the day runs as smooth as possible. Without you guys, who knows what riff-raff would have been let into that church. So. Now, I do need to give a special mention to Tom. I would like to thank you mainly for putting up with me recently. Not only because I've been an emotional wreck due to Roger Federer retiring from tennis, but also, I haven't shut up about how long it is until the wedding. I think I've given Tom an update almost every day for the last 12 weeks. Basically saying 11 weeks, 5 days, 8 weeks, 4 days, 3 hours. But honestly, thank you for being such a massive support for Katie and I. It really means the world to us. I mean, what you've done today is amazing, given the announcements, and it means the world to me. I mean, you know how much you both mean to me and Katie, but you really do. You mean everything, alright?
Ollie, you need to beat him up the tennis court, though.
Yeah, I struggle with that bit. Now, I'd like to say a huge thank you to our 5 page boys, Eli, Charlie, Noah, Jacob and Milo, wherever they are, we don't know, there's one. You boys looked amazing today and definitely helped keep the bridal party in check, so a massive congratulations for that. And also a big thank you to our flower girl who is somewhere.
He's asleep.
She's asleep. She's been wearing her comfy clothes the rest of the day, but she honestly looked so beautiful earlier, so she did an amazing job, even considering the faceplant. Now, one of the most important people of the day is Shaggy, who married us. Now, Shaggy has travelled a fair way to be with us today, but not only that, Shaggy has travelled down to see us quite a few times in the last couple of years. Now, Shaggy.
Don't embarrass him.
How could I go without mentioning the chip shop? When Shaggy was last down, me and Katie took her to a chip shop, and I don't think, from her reaction, she's never been to a chip shop before. Now, I've never ever seen anyone that excited to order 6 chicken nuggets in my life. The pure enthusiasm and I think the disbelief of the people behind the bar were just quite shocking, but it was also quite amazing to watch. But generally, thank you so much for everything you've done for Katie and I. Without you, this day definitely wouldn't have even happened. So, a massive thank you. Now, I'd like to give a massive thank you to my second mother, Mandy, who's For those of you who don't know, Mandy, with some help from her husband Dean, and from what I gather, a lot of other people, have prepared all the buffet food today, so I'm sure on behalf of everybody here, we can say a massive thank you. Now, I must say another massive thank you to the team at Court Farm. Ed and his team have really helped to make this day so special for Katie and I. So we really are grateful for everything you have done today and to the run-up to today. I think it's safe to say we'll be coming back many times in the future, but mainly just so I can play on the tractor outside. Now, another thank you must go to the band. From experience, I can say that everybody in the band has put in many hours of practice to make some noises that sound relatively similar to songs we're attempting to play. So, a massive thank you for everything that you've done and still have to do. And last, but not least, the bridesmaids. Now, thank you so much to Hayley, Jem, Lucy, and Phoebe, and Ellie. I said Lucy.
That's a lot.
Now, from past experience, I have been in the same house as Katie as she's getting ready for a special occasion, and I don't envy you at all. Most of the time, however, is taken up by trying on about 26 outfits before she decides, so at least that part was slightly easier today. But thank you so much for everything you have done for Katie today, and I couldn't go without saying how stunning you all looked. It was phenomenal. So, would you all join me for one big toast to the bridesmaids? Thank you. We just have a slight toilet break for the bride.
The announcement is the toilet break.